Hey guys, SimCoder here, and today we are going to learn how we can implement the login button in our web page, in our driver dashboard, which we started last lesson. And if you haven't, please do. In the last lesson, we learned how we can set up a server, a hosting server for your website. So it is really important, and without that, you won't be able to go further with this lesson. So yeah, let's get right into it. And the first thing that we need is to go inside our Firebase dashboard and to get the credentials for the web page, because it is different from the Android Studio, but it is a lot simpler than it. So let's get right in here and click on Add App and add Firebase to your web app. Okay, and this code will appear, and this is what we'll need later on when we actually add the Firebase part. Let's leave this page open for now, and let's go into our Atom project, or whatever code editor you're writing code in. And this is where we left off in the last lesson. We just made a simple test.html file, but now we want to make, obviously, a form where the user can place their email and password and a button to log in. So let's go inside body, and let's actually use this h3 tag and say login form, and let's create a div that will contain the form with everything that we need. So div, and if you don't understand HTML and JavaScript, please do take a second or so to watch some tutorial on it, because I'm not going to go into much detail. I'm going to assume that you have at least a basic knowledge of these two components. So let's place an input, which will allow, it's like an edit text, and I'll try to make comparisons between this and Android Java, so that you understand it better, because I know a lot of you are familiar with that, obviously. And a placeholder, which will be email. This will be the field for the email. Then let's create another input, and this one will be the password. Okay, and now all that's left is a button. And in here, a div is like, just so that for those that don't understand this language, a div is like a linear layout or a relative layout. It is much broader than them, but it does basically the same. It engulfs all the things that are inside it. And so yeah, just a way for us to compartment the web project, the web app, a lot better. So button, close that up. Okay, and now the beauty thing about HTML is that we can see it happen. So let's go inside here, and as you can see, we refreshed it and it appears. So now we can actually start writing code, because at the moment when you click it, nothing happens. You can write whatever you want, that nothing happens. And so we are now going to use the code that we did that we got from the Firebase dashboard. But first we are going to create a file inside a folder, and it is going to be inside Firebase. I'm just going to try to make it as clear as I can for you guys. So auth.js, .gs, which is the same as saying JavaScript, and it is created. And now we are able to create functions for the project at hand. And the first thing that we gotta do when creating JavaScript files is to say function at the top, and this will kickstart the function. And inside here we can write wherever we want, and we can write functions outside it as well, but by writing function, this will always be called when we call this file. Okay, so that's exactly what we need right now. And let's go inside the Firebase dashboard and just copy and paste it here. Now, one thing that we gotta change is, because you see these tags script, you don't need them here because you are dealing with JavaScript already. So we are going to get the first line and move it outside the JavaScript file. We are going to place them in here, in the bottom, and we are going to remove the tag script because we don't need them, as I've said, and they come with a strange indentation, so let's just space them out as much as we can because that looks a lot better. Okay, and now we must call this file right here. So to call the file, it is extremely easy. You simply say script source equals to, and now you go to the auth document and you see where it is in your file tree, if you will. So for me, it is home. When I say home, it is the root file of the root folder of the domain, then Firebase, then auth.javascript. Okay, so you simply say Firebase auth.javascript. Okay, then you simply close that up. Script, and you can save it, and we don't need to mess with this page anymore because it will take care of everything for us, even though I'll try to avoid using jQuery, which is a JavaScript library, because it isn't JavaScript, it is like modulated to be an easier on the eye JavaScript. So I want to try not to use that in this lesson. So with that being said, let's get right into the authentication system. So now that we have this configuration made, which is the same as the Google Services API file that you used to have to your Android Studio, now we gotta do kind of a on-click listener for the sign-in button. Okay, so when the user clicks sign in, it will trigger the signing into our web app, and only then can the user move on. So to sign in, we have to do the on-click listener event so that you can relate to the Android part. So you say document dot query selector, and within I always forget the name of these things, but they look like accents, I don't know, so you can take a look and watch, and say sign in, which is the ID of the button, dot add event listener, and you say between the same things click function, and with an E for error inside it. Okay, you open that up and you get this. Make sure you put the semicolon at the end. And yeah, so now we can get all the code that we need, and you can place e dot prevent default, and these are just error checks, so it is better for you to place them. I don't actually know what happens if you don't, but the documentation, the Firebase documentation says that you should place them. So propagation, not propagation. Okay. And now we, assuming that everything went to plan, we must get the inputs, so both the email and password. And that's extremely easy to do. We simply say var.email equals to document dot query selector, and just as we did for the onClick event listener, we say email in this case because we want the object with the email ID, and you say dot, instead of get value you simply say value. And you can see there are a lot of similarities between JavaScript and what we did with Java in our Android project. So password, and now we simply try to sign into the Firebase project. So we say firebase.auth, and even in here there are a lot of similarities to the Android Studio part. Sign in with email and password, email, password, and then catch the errors if there are some. Catch function error, close that up. So sign in with email and password, it's well written, I believe. So yeah, that's everything that we need. Let me just check so that I have to make sure, because in here it is a lot easier to make mistakes while writing down the things. So yeah, now all that's left is to get the wait a second. Okay, yeah, all that's left is to do an off-state listener changed, so that way you can know when the user can move out of this page and go inside the main HTML, which will have the table with the drivers every single ride, and where you can see everything. So yeah, let's get right on with it and say below the config, say firebase.auth, and this logic is the same as Android, so nothing to worry about there. On auth state listener, state changed, function user, which will be returned to us when on of state changed when this is called. And now we can get the user, so window.user equals to user, and yeah, we don't actually, I believe we don't need that, but let's leave it up there, there's no problem with it. And now we say if user different from null, then we can move on to the yeah, we don't need this, let me just remove it. I was looking at something that doesn't really matter. So if user different from null, then we can move on to the main.html, which we'll create in a second. So window dot location href, and this is how you change pages in JavaScript. And now just http, and let me just go in here and grab the link and just copy the link that you want to go to. In this case it will be main.html, and we can go ahead and create it right now. Main.html. Wait a second for it to create. Save this. Forgot the semicolons. And the semicolon here. Okay. And here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, now in the main activity, let me just again save this. I'm going to grab the test.html code, but change a few things. So instead of signing, it will be sign out, and it will be the only thing that it will have. Okay, and leave this up here. I'm going to take this h3 tag out, and I'm going to add the logout function, because, well, we need a logout function. So let's go inside here and copy and paste this listener, but instead of sign in, again sign out, add listener. Okay, we prevent default, stop propagation, and we can remove all of this and simply say Firebase .auth .sign out. And then move to actually, let's do it here. Else, go to login.html, and login.html will be the test. I forgot to rename it, so login. And okay, I believe that will be all. So let's save everything up, and let's just run the code. I believe there's not a lot more to do. So let's go in here, and instead of test, because we changed the name now, let's go into login.html, and let's try to actually log in into the project. So driver at driver.com, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and whenever you get an error, you can go into inspect, and in here you can check if any errors popped up. Okay, give me a second and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I found the error, and it was quite stupid on my part, but yeah, I've made some changes and it is now working. The first of which is that I separated the login from the main JavaScript file completely. So I have two now, login and main. In the login, we only have the sign-in event listener, which was one of the errors in some time ago. So yeah, only sign in, only use the things that you are going to use in each and every single HTML file. The second of which is these parentheses here, which I forgot. You must add the open and close parentheses before the semicolon of the function. So yeah, make sure you do that. Also, I've changed this, I believe. Take a look at it. The logic is the same, it's just changing things around. And then I have the main, where we only have the sign out button, and then we say if user equals to null, then go back to the login page. Okay, And yeah, for the JavaScript files, that's it. And for the main and login, make sure you change the file, the script that the user calls inside here, so that it points to the correct one. So main points to main and login points to login. And after you do that, then we'll get something like this, which was my intent from the beginning, which is driver@driver.com 1 2 3 4 5 6, sign in, and it will change to the main page, and we are here. And now when you sign out, it will go back to the login page. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. It was an oversight on my part. I'll try to make it so that it don't happen again. Because I've been coding so much in Android Studio lately, I'm still used to it, so I have to center and concentrate and let go of the Android Studio part for now. So yeah, but it is all for now. Thank you all so much for watching. In the next lesson, we'll start to work with the real-time database and getting the data into a table. And for that table, we'll use Bootstrap, which is a framework that works wonderfully. But we'll get into that in the next lesson. For now, it is all. Please do leave a like and subscribe if these lessons are being helpful to you. It helps me a lot, and it helps this channel grow a lot. So yeah, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope to see you again tomorrow, and ciao.